what's your reaction to DeAaron winning the Clutch Player Award, and what stood out to you just about the evolution of his mindset to put in the work and become that player that can carry his team in those situations?
Man, I'm excited for him, for Rasay, for Baby Rain, because you talk about a beautiful family and beautiful people, and it's very much deserving for that to happen, especially knowing the work that he put in. Obviously we weren't with him prior to this year, but knowing the work that he put in, and I take my hat off even to Luke Laux. Luke's been working with him from day one. Luke basically moved to San Diego with them. Even though Luke's older, Luke turned into the adopted child, living down there with them. But they've just been phenomenal with their approach, and it all starts and ends with Foxy and his commitment to trying to be better. But you also got to give his teammates credit, because his teammates understand where the ball needs to go in those situations. They need to set screens for him. They need to give him space, and they need to get him enough, help him get enough stops so that he can close the game for us. So I'm elated for him, man.
Obviously, that work is, you're in a gym, you're by yourself. What can you do, or how does that translate to being successful in those moments, do you think?
Well, it is kind of by yourself, but it's up to, in this instance, up to Luke a lot of times, putting him in different situations, saying, okay, hey, this is the scenario, and then even having Foxy's guys, his guy Nino, who's around a lot, and there's other guys that are around every once in a while. Hey, you got to get out and work a little bit. You play some defense, you go double team them, and you do this during the double team, or you do this when you get by the first or the initial defender, and figure out how to react in different situations. And so that creativity that Luke helped bring to the table to help get him ready. Also, what Foxy has experienced his whole life, being that guy, has helped him be able to have some success in critical moments.
Mike, when you took this job,
talk about his family, DeAaron, that is.
Yep.
Talk about his family and the things that he's doing off the court, getting married, having a kid. He's loving life right now, got a great career. That kind of adds a little bit to his maturity too, right?
100%. You go through having a baby and being married. You have to grow up a little bit, not to say that he was immature before, but you just know that it's not just about you anymore. You have people that you got to take care of on a daily, but also if you choose the partner that he did in Rasay, then that's just going to really elevate it, because you think Foxy's competitive. Ooh. If Rasay could throw on a Kings uniform right now, she might beat him out for that award.
when you look at this summer when you took this job, how much did the untapped potential of players like Fox play into that, and you wanting to come here and maybe you could craft something that was different than was here before?
A lot, and you coach against Fox in this level. I just remember being able to coach him in practices and a lot of different situations when he was in high school. And I was amazed at his quickness, his strength, and his athleticism for the size that he was. And then he had a certain tenacity about him too. And some of those things, obviously, you can't coach. And I always felt from back in the day when I was with him at that Albert Hall used to run Adidas Nations. Back in the day when I was with him at those camps, I just saw something special. And so now, fast forward and coaching against him, you see certain things, and you know that, okay, hey, maybe you can help him get to a certain point, help Domas get to a certain point by putting them in different positions. And lo and behold, they've stepped up, and we've been able to get it done so far.
To that point, has he gotten a whole lot better this year, or is it just the team around him, the team's success has gotten better, so more people are seeing what he's doing?
I think it's a combination of both. Obviously, we've been able to get a lot out of a lot of people this year, and guys have been able to spread their wings and show what they're capable of with the way that we're trying to play them. And so when you have that type of individual success throughout your roster, if the group is connected, it can bode well for obviously team success, and that's what you're seeing now.
You wanted your team to be more physical in this series. What stood out to you about the physicality from your team in Game 2?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think I've been asking for more physicality just for this series. You go back and look at any of my press conferences, even after wins, I've been asking for our guys to bring it physically all year. And in my opinion, I was part of a championship run last year with the Warriors. We were an extremely physical team, not just last year during the playoffs, but throughout the year. If you're going through that paint, you getting hit. If you're going to get a rebound, you getting hit. And now you factor in the playoffs starting, and we're going against the defending NBA champs. Both teams are bringing a level of physicality that both coaches, I think, at the end of the day, appreciate. And so we wanted to stay there or go up, and I'm sure they do too, because as you continue to play games during these playoffs, it's only going to get harder and harder and harder.
Along
How'd you
those
guys
lines,
flip
do you
that switch,
expect?
Mike?
What's that?
How'd you guys flip that switch with the physicality, the defense, and things that you're saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to give credit to the players because, I said this also, too, before. We've shown flashes of it. We just haven't done it consistently for 48 minutes. And if we can start stringing some games together where we're playing at a certain level in a certain way for 48 minutes, and in this case for us against during our playoff run, it's about pace and physicality. If we can string 48 minutes of that together with our group, we feel like we can beat any team out there.
And then, what do you take the most pride or satisfaction when you think about everything that's gone into coaching this team this year, from X's and O's and schemes to instilling belief and bringing the best out of players? Like, what are you most satisfied with personally?
How they've embraced everything we've asked them to do. I mean, they again, I always, when I explained to you guys about roles, how they can reject it, accept it, or embrace it, they haven't accepted us coaching them. They've embraced us coaching them, and they've tried to go out there and compete at the highest level for each other. And that, from my seat, is about as good as any pat on the back you can ask for.
Mike, along the lines of the physicality, do you almost expect Domas to be officiated a little bit differently going forward? And how do you kind of prepare for that once certain things have been kind of called out by, from Golden State in terms of what he's doing on the floor?
No, we know. I mean, they're the champions at the end of the day, and we're going into their building. We know that that we're not going to get a favorable whistle probably from going forward. And I told our guys at the beginning we got to be physical and we got to play with pace. And I added a third P to it, and I said we got to have poise. And so, if the whistle's not in our favor tomorrow night, then or going forward, we can't react. We just got to keep playing our game and try to find a way to get a win.
Mikey, you've downplayed your familiarity with them as being an advantage for you guys, but the way you guys have defended, and Fox just mentioned the attention to detail that you have when it comes to preparing for them. I mean, I don't want to say you weren't being earnest about that, but how has that experience you've had working with them helped you prepare for them defensively?
I mean, it hasn't really. They know just about as much as about us as we do about them. I mean, this the playoffs. If them or anybody else go sit back and say Mike Brown knows more about the Warriors than we do about the Kings, that is bullshit. Because they got a great advanced scout. Their coaches are freaking smart as heck. Steve is a Hall of Fame coach. Their players, led by Draymond, are smarter than all get up. So they know. They know I like to put my right foot in before my left foot when I put my underwear on. They know me that well. I've been in the locker room with all them coaches. So it's hogwash what people are saying, but it's good talk. I mean, it bodes well for good media talk, but it's not at this point. No.
Are those
How are
the
they
lucky
different?
green ones from earlier in the season?
No, they're
No, come on.